The sun scorched the desert as Silas Ward rode through what he thought was empty wasteland. His horse snorted, hooves kicking up dust, until Silas yanked the reins, halting abruptly. 20 yards ahead, a pale face stared from the ground, framed by disturbed earth like a gravestone. Long brown hair matted a young woman's face, and carved into her forehead, raw and bleeding, was the word sinner. Silas dismounted, boots crunching on dry earth. His mind struggled to process the sight, a head buried to the neck, eyes sunken from dehydration, lips cracked. She was alive, barely, her chest rising in shallow breaths. "Water," she croaked, voice barely audible. Silas knelt, tipping his canteen to her lips. She drank desperately, water spilling into the dirt. "Who did this?" he asked. Her eyes fluttered shut, too weak to answer. He clawed at the packed earth with his hands, the dirt hard as stone. Whoever buried her had ensured she couldn't escape, pinning her arms deep. "Hold on," Silas said, digging faster. Questions burned in his mind. Who would do this? What sin warranted such cruelty? Why leave her to die under the merciless sun? Her eyes opened, locking onto his with desperate intensity. "They said I had to pay," she whispered, voice chilling him. "What did you do?" he asked, but hoofbeats interrupted, multiple riders, coming fast. Her face paled. "They're coming back to check if I'm dead." Silas dug frantically, freeing her arms. The riders were close now, 5 men, a lynch mob's determination in their pace. "What's your name?" he asked, keeping her conscious. "Clarabelle Morrison," she gasped. He pulled her from the earth, her legs too weak to stand. Lifting her onto his horse, Silas swung up behind her and spurred the animal toward rock formations in the distance. Angry shouts erupted as the pursuers found the empty hole. The hunt was on, navigating narrow passages between rocks. Silas pressed Clarabelle for answers. "Who are they?" "Pastor Morai Thorne and his men," she said. "They run Redemption Creek." "What did you do to make them bury you?" Her voice dropped, heavy with shame. "I fell in love with the wrong man. Pastor Thorne's son, Ezra. He's married." The pieces clicked, a religious town, an affair, a woman branded and buried as punishment. "They caught you together?" Silas asked. Clarabelle nodded, tears welling. "We planned to run away, but Ezra denied it. Said I seduced him, called me the devil." Hoofbeats echoed closer. Silas guided them into a cave hidden by vines, helping Clarabelle inside. She collapsed on his bedroll, exhausted. "These men will kill me for helping you, won't they?" he asked. She nodded. "Pastor Thorne believes anyone who defies God's judgment is damned." A voice boomed outside, commanding and righteous. "Silas Ward, you've taken what isn't yours." Silas froze. They knew his name. "How?" he whispered. Clarabelle's face went ashen. "Oh God," she breathed. The voice continued. "Silas Ward of Canyon Ridge, the church burner who killed Preacher Williams." Silas's world tilted. Canyon Ridge, 2 years ago, a fire he'd set to scare a preacher he thought was hurting children. The flames had spread too fast, killing innocents, forcing him to flee. "It wasn't supposed to happen like that," he told Clarabelle, voice raw. "I didn't mean to kill anyone." Pastor Thorne's voice cut through again. "God has delivered you to us, Ward. You saved a sinner, and now you'll face judgment." Peering through a crack, Silas saw 5 men surrounding the cave, rifles ready. Pastor Thorne, silver-haired with burning eyes, radiated fanaticism. "No way out," Clarabelle whispered. "They'll drag us to Redemption Creek and burn us." Silas checked his revolver, 6 bullets against 5 men. Tough odds. "There's another way," Clarabelle said. "Give me back to them. They might let you go." Silas shook his head. "No. These men don't just kill, they make it hurt." Her eyes pleaded. "I'm already dead. Don't die for a sinner like me. There's no sin in love, he said firmly. Thorne's voice grew amused. Ward, I know what really happened in Canyon Ridge. Silas stiffened. What's he mean? Clarabelle's eyes widened. Thorne doesn't just punish sinners. He creates them, plants evidence, sets people up. Silas's mind raced back to Canyon Ridge, an anonymous tip, a man in black watching from the shadows, the fire spreading unnaturally fast. He set me up, Silas realized, rage surging. Why? He shouted. Thorne's laughter echoed. Preacher Williams wouldn't sell his land. Your guilt served my purpose. Clarabelle grabbed his arm. Don't let him bait you. But Silas moved toward the entrance, revolver in hand. I killed an innocent man because of him. Clarabelle struggled to her feet. Silas, what would you do? Die for revenge or live to expose the truth? He paused, seeing the fight in her eyes despite her suffering. There's a third option, he said. We make them come to us. But first, was it just the affair? She shook her head. I saw Thorne meeting men from out of town, planning something big. What? Control over every town from here to the state line. Smoke drifted into the cave. Thorne's men had lit brush at the entrance, aiming to burn them out. Another way out? Silas asked. Clarabelle coughed, pointing to a narrow crack in the back wall. It's tight, but we can try. They squeezed through, emerging into clean air. They'll guard the horses, Clarabelle warned. Thorne thinks like a hunter. We go on foot, Silas said. Tell me about those men Thorne met. City folk, armed, planning to buy land cheap from scared townsfolk, then sell high when the railroad comes, she said, wiping blood from her forehead. Thorne convinces people it's God's will to sell. Those who resist disappear. How many has he killed? Silas asked. I kept a list, names, dates, hidden in Redemption Creek Cemetery. Shouts echoed, Thorne's men had found the crack. Where's the list? In a metal box under a grave. They ran toward a mesa, the sun relentless, pursuit closing in. Rifle shots cracked, deliberately missing. They're not trying to kill us, Clarabelle realized. Thorne wants us alive for a public execution. Ahead, a dust cloud signaled wagons approaching Redemption Creek. Who are they? Silas asked. Thorne's been expecting important guests, Clarabelle said. Investors, maybe. The shots were herding them toward town, toward a wooden stake in the square, surrounded by kindling. He planned this, Silas said. A show for his guests. Clarabelle stumbled, exhausted. Silas caught her. We're not going to that stake. We're getting your list. It's in the cemetery, across town, she said. We'd have to go through the square. Not through, under, Silas said. Old towns have storm drains. They crept parallel to Redemption Creek, staying low. The cemetery loomed beyond, filled with fresh graves, too many for a town of 200. Where is everyone? Silas asked. Clarabelle's face paled. Dead. Anyone who defied Thorne. In the square, Pastor Thorne addressed a well-dressed man from the wagons, Mr. Harrison. This town is ready for the railroad, Thorne said. No land disputes, no troublemakers. Harrison, cold-eyed, replied, my investors need assurance. Thorne gestured toward the hills. You'll see how we maintain order. Silas and Clarabelle reached the cemetery, hiding among headstones. She pointed to a grave with a wooden cross. Silas dug, finding a tin box with pages listing 47 names, murders disguised as suicides, accidents, disappearances. This is proof, Silas said. Clarabelle nodded. Enough to ruin him. Shouts grew closer. Thorne's men were nearly upon them. Silas grabbed the list and pulled Clarabelle toward a storm drain entrance. They crawled through, emerging near the square. The crowd was small, maybe 50 people, watching Thorne preach beside the stake. Harrison stood nearby, flanked by armed guards. "We have to get this list to someone who can stop him," Silas whispered. Clarabelle pointed to a sheriff's badge glinting on a man in the crowd. "He's not one of Thorne's." They edged closer, but a rifle barrel pressed into Silas's back. "Move," a voice growled. Thorne's men had found them. Thorne's eyes gleamed as they were dragged into the square. "Mr. Harrison, witness God's justice." Silas clutched the list, slipping it into Clarabelle's hand. "Get it to the sheriff," he whispered. As Thorne's men tied him to the stake, Clarabelle stumbled toward the crowd, collapsing near the sheriff. She pressed the list into his hand, whispering, "Read it." The sheriff's eyes widened as he scanned the names. "Thorne," he bellowed, stepping forward. "What's this about 47 murders?" The crowd stirred, murmuring. Harrison's expression darkened. "Pastor, you assured us a clean operation." Thorne's face twisted. "Lies. The woman's a sinner." But the sheriff held up the list, reading names aloud. The crowd's murmurs grew to shouts. Silas broke free as Thorne's men hesitated. He tackled Thorne, pinning him. "Your game's over." The sheriff arrested Thorne, and Harrison's guards, sensing a shift, stood down. Clarabelle, bloodied but defiant, stood tall. "No more sinners," she said. As the dust settled, Silas knew the truth about Canyon Ridge, and Clarabelle's list would haunt him. But for the first time in years, he felt free.